What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Man Cave. We are Corey and Hamper. You listen to the Much About Nothing podcast, the show where we give expert takes and good-hearted debates. We talk ball and anything and everything else. Today, we will be talking about what it means to be a patriot. If you got something to say, please put it in the comments. If you're new to the pod, greetings. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, smash that bell. If you're already part of the fam, welcome back. Please like, share, and comment. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Let's get into it.
Yes. Like my brother Hamp said, what it means to be a patriot. What do you even consider yourself a patriot? These are the questions we're going to be going through today. And the first question is, what does it mean to be a patriot? Well, I'm gonna try to y'all give me a quick second so I can pull up the exact definition of a person who vigorously supports their country and is prepared to defend it against enemies or distractors. So I don't know. That's a tough one. To me, a patriot is a person that loves their country, but at the end of the day, I don't know how far. I think the question is how far do you got to go to say that you love your country? What is love? Because I mean, I love my kids. I'm prepared to do a lot for my kids. Can I say I'm prepared to do the same for my country? Am I prepared to lose my kids for my country? I mean, maybe I'm not a patriot. Depends on how far we got to say the word vigorously supports. How much vigor do you got to have in vigorously support? That's the question. I mean, sometimes, was Muhammad Ali a patriot before they asked him to go across to war to fight and kill people that look like, where, like he said, other pole folk? Do you think I'm gonna go out there and kill other pole folks for somebody that I do not know? No. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe you know him. You served and fought for your country. I mean, I'm pretty sure you could tell me more about it than myself. But I would say, yeah, I consider myself a patriot to a certain extent. Depends. Do I love my country? Yeah. Ah, would I die for my country? Maybe. Depends on what the cause is. I don't know. Only you have.
Okay. Before we get into this thought provoking question, I am going to say, if God gives you children, make lemonade. Today, we discussed this on a previous topic about teaching our children what it means to run a business or just to handle money, to make money, all that. So today, we ran a very successful lemonade stand. And thank you to the supporters, one of which is Corey. I can count on Corey to support no matter what. The guy don't have time, but he makes time. Like he is a clock maker. He makes time to support for any and everything, man. Dude is awesome. But
Thank you, man.
the lemonade stand was extremely successful. The kids learned what it was like to actually prepare a product. They learned customer service. They learned how hard it is to make a dollar. The most importantly, they learned about time because at one point they were like, "How long do we have to do this?" So they learn the value of a dollar. They learn exactly how much time, and more importantly, they know how much a toy costs in regards to time. Like when you go to buy a toy, or you go to buy a toy, that is a portion of Daddy's time that I had to spend, and they learned that. So it was great. And man, Tiff did a really good job. She made great cookies. We sold out all the cookies, sold out the lemonade. Was left with just two water bottles, and I don't want to count their pockets, but they did all right.
All
They
right, all
they, they
right,
did
all
they
right.
did they did all right. All right, so back to first we did forget one other thing. Hey, shout out! We got Todd in the building, we got Tawana in the building, we got Tiffany, we got Crystal in the building. Thank y'all for rocking with us. So back to your question: what is a patriot? Are you a patriot? What's the question you got for me, man?
All right, so the first one is what it means to be a patriot. I mean, I gave mine. I gave the strict definition, not my own definition, but a patriot, a person who vigorously supports their country and is prepared to defend it against enemies or detractors.
Hmm. Hmm. So what's the question? What are you asking me here?
What it means to be a patriot to you? What do you consider? I want your definition, not the
I
definition of
think I
patriot. I'm
think I
pretty
think
sure you
it,
disagree with it.
no,
You don't need. You don't,
I definitely
I
agree
think
that
it's
that
something
is.
different.
I think I definitely agree that that's what it takes to be a patriot. I think the definition is spot on.
Well, the question is, how much do you have to? What is vigorous? I always say connotative. Connotative word. It's subjective. Like,
A
yeah, what I
patriot,
put.
it's
Yeah, I
no a
think no,
patriot.
not patriot subject. I'm saying vigorously. It says a person who vigorously supports. Now the word vigorously is subjective. How much do I have to support for it to be vigorously? Now, how much that is for me is different. Now, how much it is for you? Like I will support my country to a certain extent. Well, I support my country if they're like doing something I don't agree with to a certain point. I can't think of that right now, but I'm pretty sure it's something that my country could do that I would not support. So then I wouldn't be. And what if I don't support? Do I lose my Patriot card? Do I do I get my Patriot card if I just willingly agree with something that's not morally right with myself? It's a lot of things. I mean, can you be a patriot today and maybe lose your patriotism tomorrow because you just happen to not agree with the direction that the country is? I'm pretty sure there's some people up here today that did maybe agree with the country 10 years ago that maybe don't agree with it today. I mean, things change, laws
Hmm.
change, people change, you know?
Hmm. I don't know, Court. So when you ask the question, do I think the question is right? I mean, do I think the definition is right? I absolutely think the definition is correct. When you say vigorously, I would imagine that vigorously is, let's liken it to, I don't know, let's say a gang. Let's just use a gang.
Again,
Let's use a gang.
some,
Something simple. All
yeah,
right. If this was a gang, do you think that a gang member vigorously supports his gang?
yeah.
Yeah. Like
But I
use the
think
same
it's
context, and that's how you understand vigorous. Like when
all
in
right.
this
So let's say,
context,
what's that guy name with the tattoos on his face? He was in the gang and snitched on his boys.
who Takashi?
Yeah,
That's different, man.
but the gang did him dirty, right? We can get into the aspect of how the gang did him, kidnapped him, you know what I'm saying, threatening his moms and situation like that. So I could be a part of this nation, but this nation can do something to me or something I don't agree with. Am I not a patriot then?
Okay, let's start with right now.
Okay.
All right, let's deal in the present.
Uh-huh.
Are you a patriot now?
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself a patriot.
Okay.
But I think the thing is to me, I think our country is many different, is many things at work. It's a lot of situations that could put us in one way. So let's say the country could go a direction that I don't agree with. But at the end of the day, I have to accept the fact that it might not go my way. Everything my country does might not be what I want it to be or the direction. Like y'all know I mean, I'm pretty sure I made it known that I'm conservative. If liberals go a certain way and I got to accept that that's the way that the country wants to go. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the way our country runs is it's all right. It's okay. It could be better, yeah. But yeah, I consider myself a patriot. I think I love my country. Do I think it's the greatest place on earth? Nah, nah. I think they got a lot of faults.
Hey, what's up, Kev? As far as I'm
Hmm.
reading through the comments, and Tawana says, um, when she was, all right. Go to the second comment. All right, what Todd said was, no matter the politics of the day, this will always be where you live unless you move. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So again, to me, unless you can come up with something better for me to wrap my mind around, like I think about when you say, like with the gang thing,
Hmm.
there are kids right now that are being born on Grape Street. that are going to grow up on Grape Street in Compton,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's their neighborhood. I'm sure. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that they have to be a member of the Grape Street gang? Do they have to pledge their allegiance to that
Mm-hmm.
because that's where they're born? That's my question to you. You
Mm.
get my point? Like you don't. Secondly, when it comes to being a patriot, the problem with being a patriot is this. Um, I think that a lot of groups have adopted patriotism and this whole us versus them mentality, and a lot of times, you know, it be the hate groups that use it. It be the hate groups that use it.
What do you
Um,
mean by us versus them? I'm just asking you to clarify. Us versus like group versus group or nation versus nation or
it's always like those that love America and those that don't, or the whole even the whole
mm,
rhetoric of making something great again, or like
mm,
like a lot of it is just rhetoric that is divisive by saying either you're a patriot or you're not a patriot.
mm.
Um,
You
it's
think if we solely in this country we're patriots?
no,
So what makes a patriot? Is there such thing as a patriot?
yeah, there's definitely patriots. There's
So what
definitely
are they?
patriots. They play in New England, but them dead joke.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right, but
That was a good one.
as far as people that are willing to, yeah, those guys for the most part, those guys are in the military. When you say like when you love a country so much you're willing to die for it,
Mm-hmm.
those guys actually pick up guns and live that.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times that we get confused of. I think a lot
Go,
of
go,
times
go. Close that door behind, please.
we hear people say in a hypothetical sense that they're willing to die for this country.
See that's what I'm saying. At that aspect, depending. Let's say depending. It's certain situations where I'm willing to die for my country. Let's say it's a pending war that because I and this why I gets to Daddy Hamp comments when he says that what I'm saying if you I live here. So I know what happens if a war reaches our country. At the end of the day, it's my family here. So where I go to prevent them getting here, because wars was fought in places, and I know what they do to the women and children there. War is a horrific thing. Like most people think is like a movie thing. Nah, people rape, steal, kill, and men at war do like unbelievable things just to survive. So, where I go to war to prevent that from coming here, but it would have to be a type war. Let's say the Iraq War. I had probably 100% sure that that war was never going to reach the shores of America. I never in 1 second believed that I'm going to see a Iraqi come over here unless it was going to be a terrorist attack in that way. So nah. Well, depending, I mean, it depends. Like, I don't know. It depends in the scenario. Will I be willing to die for my country? Will I be willing to die for my neighbor? Because at the end of the day, the country to me, I believe the country are a set people. I believe you're the country. Will I die for you? Yeah. Will I die to prevent others in my nation? But at the same time, I would do that for some no name down the street. I would hope in the right situation, I would do that for any nation. If I was in France and was a person about to blow up a bomb, would I try to attempt to stop them? Yeah. I mean, I think any civilized human being would try to
Okay,
save the day anywhere. I'm gonna say I'm from America. I can't do nothing right now.
yeah, I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm proud of the commitment that I made. I'm proud of it. Do I agree with everything? No. I
Mm,
mean, I'm proud that I served, but as far as like now where I'm at in life, um, as far as am I willing to die just for this country? I don't think so. And I think there's probably a reason why you recruit so early.
mm.
And I think because
Why they recruit so early?
No, I'm just saying. Like when you
Young and
17,
dumb. Young
yeah,
and dumb.
when you in that range, that sweet spot of when they want you 17 to 25,
You believe
like
anything.
you believe anything. But at this point, man, like then I done live a little bit and I'm wise and I have a family. Like you know, here goes the thing, man. I listened to a guy a long time ago say that the thing is with the military is, you know, you get praised for killing America's enemies, but
Mm.
uh, but if I kill my enemies, I'm going to
Mhm.
prison. Like, I'm going to prison. Like, you know, it's one of those things where at the end of the, you know, most of the time when it comes to wars and country, patriotism is necessary. It's
Mm.
necessary for every single country because the decisions being made at the top level have to have people fight the fights.
Mm.
If wars involved the leaders of countries picking up swords and having to fight each other, the world would be a peaceful place. But
Mhm.
that's not the way it works. The peace and war is on the backs and lives and blood of its young people. And so, with that being said, like to be a true patriot, the one who is willing to lay down your life, the one who is committed to that, like you really have to be at the mercy of the leaders of America that decide this is what has to happen. And a lot of times, the wars that are fought, they're not based off of whether it was a threat to you and I. It's some decision maker at the top that just don't like it. Like I don't like it. That's really what it comes down to.
I
Uh,
guess the question is, what is America then?
what is America?
What do you think America is by itself? Like, what do you think our nation
America,
is?
America, just like every other country, is man-made lines,
Mhm.
man-made lines, in
Oh
which
man,
we took land and divided it and called it a name. At the end of the day, we're all the same. Like we're really all the same. Like humans are really all the same. And borders. And if you don't understand it, I want you to think of something a border like Canada. Such an arbitrary line. Look at Mexico. It's an arbitrary line. But
I,
because you're born on this piece of grass, you're telling me I'm supposed to be willing to love this piece of grass more than the piece of grass that literally could be across. I mean, a few feet over. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
man,
think it's much different. I think this say that's the only thing that separates us. I think the biggest thing that separates people is ideas. I think at the end of the day, one nation has to agree on a set of ideas.
okay.
And
Well then
for
I'm definitely not a patriot then because I don't
yeah,
agree with America's
but
ideas.
I mean, not in all, but let's say this, right? Let's say this when it gets to the extremes, right? Do you think a 22-year-old marrying a 16-year-old is right?
No.
Okay, in Europe, it is. You can legally marry at 16. So that is a law. So at the end of the day, and the great people before that say, we are a nation of laws, not of men. So a set standard. That's why I say our nation is built on the fabric of what we believe in our laws. Our laws set us apart. At the end of the day, the way we built fundamentally, at the end of the day, laws that you disagree, laws which you agree with, at the end of the day, do you agree with the foundation of what the laws are and how they're put in place? And maybe you don't, maybe you don't. But I think we're very, very unique in the way we do things and the way we handle things and the opportunity to what brings change to these laws at the end of the day. Like let's say most people probably don't agree with the law of slavery, but that was changed over time. Matter of fact, we were one of the few nations that changed it early on. It's still nations that have slavery to this day, you know. And matter of fact, a fun fact though, a fun fact, and it's something I learned this week. Do you know the first person that legally possessed a slave?
I know it's gonna be something to make me angry, Corey. I know you
How it's
about to
gonna be?
say
Yeah,
no.
it's a
I
fact.
just know. I
Like
just know
how a
you
fact
about to
gets a
send
person,
me.
man.
You about to send me down a path in which. Go
Go.
ahead, Corey. Go ahead.
I
Tell me some black man owned a slave, Corey. Go ahead. Tell me.
yeah, the first person was a black man. Was a black man. Yeah. I mean, it might not be true for you, but I mean, it's definitely it's Googleable. You can
Says
Google it.
who though? Like that's what I'm saying, Corey. Look, let's start with my first premise here, Corey.
Uh huh.
History is written by the victors.
So
That
you don't
is
believe
everywhere.
that's a
That is
big question.
everywhere.
So what makes you decide whether something true or not? Just it doesn't matter about like you just decide what you feel is true.
No, I take the
How do you
evidence.
decide?
I take the evidence.
Whose evidence though?
Okay, like I said, all right. I
How do
told
you
you.
decide something is
No,
true
no,
though?
Corey. I'm gonna tell you, man. I had this happen to me. A video, a
Mm-hmm.
video did this to me. It was a TikTok video,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a guy explaining shackles. These shackles, these were 400-year-old shackles that a slave wore during the Middle Passage. This thing was 35 pounds, Corey. It was iron shackles that go around the wrist, it goes around the neck, it goes around the waist, and it
Mm-hmm.
goes around the ankles. 35 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And it evoked something in me that why isn't this talked about enough? Like as far as you, we want to talk about some black guy owned a slave.
I
Maybe
don't
he
care
was the
about it. I'm
first
just saying
guy.
it was
Like
a. I'm
maybe
just saying it was a fun fact that I didn't know. It's
that's
something
not
I
a
learned.
fun fact. That's a
It's
use
something
another
I
word.
learned. I
Use
didn't
another
know it.
word. Don't
It was a
use fun
fact.
fact.
It
It
was
was
a
a
fact.
fact,
It was
not
something
a
I
fun
learned.
fact.
It was something I learned. I didn't know that, but I looked into it and I wouldn't have never believed it. I wouldn't have never believed that in 1,000 years. But that's not what I'm getting at. To I really want to understand, like, how do you assess what's truth and what's not? It's
Okay,
just
how I
off of
assess it?
what you believe.
Mm-mm.
How do you?
For one, there's a whole. If you want to go through the process,
Because
there's
at
a
the end of the
very.
day, it's a lot of information. You read books in school, right? How
Mm-hmm.
did you ever believe anything in that books is true? Because somebody wrote those books, and just
Yeah.
like you saying, somebody wrote that. Why did you ever believe it?
All right. So this is what ends up happening. I ask myself, what does a person have to gain by this side of the story that they're telling? I ask myself that before
What
I
does a
even.
person have to gain to say that the black person owned the first slave? Who cares?
Yeah, it does. It tries to soften the blow for the atrocities that
Soften what
happen.
blow?
I mean, the atrocities. Like
Does that
a lot of
soften the
times,
blow?
nah, man, it's one of those things
No, it
where
doesn't.
listen, it's one of those things where yeah, we weren't so bad. As a matter of fact, the first black guy,
I'm
the
saying,
first
what
slave
does
was
a
a black
person
guy
have to
or
gain
whatever.
from that?
Like, man,
What
get
does a
out of here,
person have to gain from that? I don't think it's no gain in that for anybody. That's
man.
just something that's there.
Listen, I'm not saying he wasn't the first.
Does your
I'm
life
just saying in
change?
a world I'm saying in a world where there was no social media, there's no way to know. There was no internet, there was no
Yeah, I
phone.
got you.
There was no like for me to say like that was the first person over there. Like how do you know what somebody else did before you?
Mhm.
You don't get what I'm saying? Like,
I,
how would you
am
even? How can you quantify? I'm the first one. That
I'm
sounds
not
like
even
Soldier
saying that,
Boy.
but I'm
That sounds
saying
like
this.
Soldier Boy. He
Let's
was
say
the
this.
first one.
Do you believe any history?
Yeah.
You believe what history do you believe?
Mm. Oh man. I man, it's tough. Um, I believe the history that my parents tell me.
So that's the only history you believe? You don't believe no world history, no history in the books. Like you don't believe we
What
dropped
I'm saying what I'm
bombs
saying
on
to you what I'm
Nagasaki,
saying.
Hiroshima, none of that stuff.
Yeah, those things that you can. All right, here goes a premise. This is how I can quantify it.
Hmm.
I do know atomic bomb was dropped, right?
Hmm.
I do know that because I mean it's too much evidence that it happened.
Did we go
Now,
to the moon?
let's stick with the atomic bomb first. It's too much evidence that it happened. Now,
Uh-huh.
if I have to, if somebody tries to tell me, all the things that happened before or the decision making that led up to it, I question it because there's no quantifiable way of saying it. You know what I mean? Unless the person that pushed the button said, "This is
But
why
I'm
I
saying,
did it."
how do you know that it happened though?
How
What
do I know?
evidence? What evidence do you have?
I've seen pictures.
They could have been fabricated.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Come
What
on.
have you seen picture? Hold up, hold up.
Okay. All right.
I just want to get you in this frame of logic. I can
Okay.
show you pictures of the first black slave owner. Is that not? Is they fabricated? I
What
mean,
I'm
we
saying.
go
Listen.
when we go
When
to
you talk about,
information, all of
okay.
it could be
All right.
fabricated. Then, if
Listen,
you don't believe in it,
like what you talking about is so obtuse. Like this, that's like you. That's like you saying the Holocaust didn't happen. We know the Holocaust happened. We know that happened. As far as the things that could be speculative, like I mean, there's plenty. There's, I mean, listen. Somebody could say, "Hey, look, the Holocaust happened, but you know who killed the first Jew? This
mm.
black guy." You know what I mean? Like it's such a pointless. That's such a pointless fact. And matter of fact, you know it's a pointless fact because why? Why was that even important? You know who owned the first? Why? Why? Why does that matter? Why does that
Well,
matter?
I
Why
can
does
tell
it
you
matter?
how this is what how I assess truth, right? And it's the best way to explain it is like a diploma, right? When you get a diploma, right, and you take it, reason why job, let's say why your job asks you, do you have a high school diploma, right? They don't care at all about that sheet of paper that you have. But when you point that sheet of paper out, they're saying you made it to the 12th grade, and this group of individuals, that whatever teachers you had or principal you had, they say, I put my name on this, that this individual did this. And that's the only thing it's called. So it's source. And that's why I'm talking about sourcing. So when I look at information, I look at the source. Because this person is saying, I put my credibility on the line that this is truth. So, like you, I know you. So the question is, when you tell me something, your credibility is on the line when you tell me this. Now, if it is not true, what happens to your credibility, Ham? It goes out the window, right?
Okay.
So what I do is I look at the source. Now, over time, while looking at this source, what they say has come to be true. I trust this source more. So depending on the source, that's how I evaluate truth. At the end of the day, it could be false. So my mother growing up and telling me what I was breathing in is air. So when I read it in the book, I said, okay, my mama told me because I trust my mother, right? At the time. So if it come to be a lie, I'm like, hold on now, ma, your credibility a little shot here. Am I really believing air? And then I got to check something else, like breathing air. At the end of the day, that's it. That's all of this stuff. Everything
Okay.
you have to check it by source.
Okay. All right. Quick
Mm-hmm.
question for you here. Well, matter of fact, I got something that's pretty cool, man. Since we want to talk about fun facts, I got a fun fact for you. You ready for it?
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna shoot through this one real quick. Now, back when Circuit City closed,
Mm-hmm.
all right, you old enough to remember when Circuit City closed out of Virginia Beach?
Man, you ain't let me get my punchline though.
Oh, go ahead.
The
The,
source for who created the black slave, who owned the first slave, is African American intellectual history. That is actually history in black history that black men owned the first slave. I mean, you could check any it's part of our history. Like unless you want to say like African American people that's putting out that stuff. Like, what if I went to NAACP and all this stuff? I mean, I'm not. That's where another thing when I say I check the source of the
okay.
people that.
All right. I'm a backtrack
Yeah.
because maybe it sounded like I was totally disregarding whether or not it was true.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm gonna say so.
Yeah, I was saying
I'm
that
gonna
too. That's
start
the
with
reason why it
my,
shouldn't have been that deep.
My first answer should have been so.
It
The
shouldn't
second
have been that deep.
my second answer should have been mm.
It should have just
Okay.
been that from the get
Okay.
go.
Hey, look, Kevin about to get my point. All right,
Yeah.
so listen, all right, so when Circuit City closed down, like around here in Virginia Beach,
Mhm.
the problem that happened after Circuit City closed, they shut down immediately. They didn't leave nobody behind. It was here today, gone tomorrow. Like that's how it worked. And a lot of people use Circuit City on their resume. Like Kevin just said, he was the
Mm-hmm.
VP of Circuit City and I was the CFO. Those things that could not be validated. And a lot of
Uh,
people ran along with it. And the only reason it's funny to me now is because I watch another podcast and
mm-hmm.
they talked about Twitter. Apparently,
Yeah.
when Twitter laid all these people off, right? It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't done like a normal job. It was like done via like an email in
Mm-hmm.
which they fired everybody. And so one guy realized that there's no way there's a human resources department that will allow you to fire everybody via email. There's no way. And
Mm-hmm.
come to find out, they did not have a human resources department. So what people were doing in San Francisco, they were putting on their resume that they were in charge of intellectual design for Twitter or all types of stuff because it couldn't be verified.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, what you're talking about right now is, man,
I
these
don't think
things
that's
can't be,
nowhere near. I don't think that's
they
nowhere
can't be
comparable to what
verified.
I'm
Like,
talking about.
they can't be
You think that's
verified. They
comparable to
sound
what I'm
good.
saying?
They sound good. They all sound good, but you can't verify it. But anywho, but again, it's still so. It's so. You
I
know what?
never
I'm gonna
said
go
that.
with it. And listen,
Hold on, hold on, hold
let's give
on.
that
Cause
guy
you're
a
not.
name.
Hold on, cause you're not gonna make it sound like I made it important. I simply said, I learned something today that the first slave owner happened to be black. That's
Fun
all I
fact.
said.
Fun
You made
fact.
it. You
Fun
made it
fact.
all up. You could have took that on and said, "Oh, all right, we would have went to the next point." I
Okay.
never made a big deal out of it.
Okay.
If you would
Can we?
tell me something interesting that you never knew before, I would say, "Oh, that's interesting. I never knew that." That's it.
I
Something I
don't think it's
never knew.
interesting.
Nah,
All
all
right,
right, maybe you didn't. I
but
thought
for
it
all
was
right,
something I didn't know.
but for conversation's sake, let's give this proud African American a name. Or was it? What was his name?
Let's have a
Let's
look.
maybe we can call him Eric. What do we want to call this
Anthony
guy?
Johnson. His name was Anthony Johnson.
Ant, and we call him Ant. Ant Johnson had a slave.
Hmm. They
You
got
go,
pictures
Ant
of him.
Johnson.
I mean,
No,
at
I'm
the
just
end of
saying. Hey, look, let's shout out Ant Johnson, man.
all right,
Matter of fact, let's give him a day in February. Shout out to Ant Johnson, the
we can move
first
on, man.
Negro to own a
Golly, man.
Negro. Like,
I ain't saying that. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that was a fact that I learned today. You learn
Ant.
things, right? Did you learn something today?
Yeah, I learned that Ant Johnson was the first Negro to own a Negro.
No, you don't believe that. You don't
I
believe
no,
that,
I
son.
don't. I don't. I don't
You
care.
don't believe that.
I don't care. And
Not that you don't care. Do you believe? It goes to a bigger point. Like it goes to the point of when you have this is thought of mine. It's like it's nothing nobody. And I tell people this: when a person has an idea, it's no amount of information that you can give a person to make once they have an idea in their head. It's kind of like, oh, y'all ever seen the movie Inception? Once they have an idea that's rooted into their mind, it's nothing you can say nor do to make them concede that.
no, Court. I mean, what
Yeah.
you're saying is essentially this, right?
Mhm.
All right, let's just say
Cause that should not change your day at all. Is it?
no,
Who
no.
cares?
Listen,
I
man.
wouldn't
Listen.
care if he was black nor white. I just would assume that he was white. And finding out that he was black was like, oh, that's crazy. Moving on. It didn't interrupt my life, nor do I care even any moment past it. I don't get why it would even matter. That's a
Okay.
bot.
Hey, what's up, bot? All right, but okay. All right, let's move along I'm gonna end up going too far with this thing. Cause I'm gonna tell you, man. Let's just like if I decide, all right, let's just say I don't even want to go this far, man. I'm gonna leave it alone. If you do something bad, if you do something bad, and then there's a fun fact that somebody did it worse than me before me, like ain't nobody trying to hear that. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. Like,
Now let's
okay,
move on. Let's move on.
I bet Aunt Johnson ended up a slave at some point though.
Maybe so.
Shame, shame on him.
Maybe so.
All right, so patriotism, right?
Do you consider yourself a patriot?
Do I consider myself a patriot?
Yeah.
I consider myself a citizen.
Hmm.
I'm a citizen. You know, a good question. I remember when I was watching the January 6th festivities, to say the least, and I remember like while they were recording, I heard a guy in the back say, "You guys are effing patriots."
Mm,
I don't know if I'm the only one that heard that. And to me, like that's what I'm talking about, like these groups and movements and how being a patriot is associated with that foolishness.
mm.
But I am a citizen of I'm a citizen and a resident, and I
Do
would.
you consider them patriots?
What, January 6th?
Yeah.
No, they domestic
Nah,
terrorists.
yeah, they trying to overthrow the democracy. They not patriots.
No,
Patriot
they
would try to uphold the democracy, right?
yeah, no, they were domestic
All
patriot. I
right.
mean, domestic terrorists, and whatever
So
prison that you go to for that, they should have went there for
let's
whatever
say you
time they're
were
supposed to go
there.
to.
If you were there, and they was trying to actually bomb rush, and you wouldn't do anything to try to stop, 'em,
Who,
prevent them.
me?
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
you wouldn't do anything
No,
to
I
prevent that.
wouldn't did a thing. I would listen. Listen, if I was there and I was just doing a regular tour and I didn't know what was going on, maybe I didn't have Reddit, or whatever, or maybe I wasn't following the Hodge twins or whoever, how the word got out. If I happened to have been there and I saw what they were doing, I probably would have sat back close enough to hold a phone and watch them do what they do.
Let me ask you, what would you do if you found out somebody was going to like bomb a building, like bomb one of the? You wouldn't phone call it in or nothing like that.
Yeah, I would
I
tell.
think that's a Patriot Act.
Okay, I'm not saying
Prevent
I'm
it.
not above doing Patriot
Yeah,
acts.
yeah. All right, all right.
Yeah, I'm not above doing
I was
Patriot
trying to
acts.
find out because after I thought about it, I wouldn't do nothing either. I'm not about to let
Yeah,
those
they,
people
they, they knew what was going
do
on.
that dumb stuff.
Yeah, they knew
That-
exactly what was going on. Like, everybody knew what was going on. We watched on. We saw what was happening, and when they, yeah, no, but that's
yeah, but I
different.
think that's regardless. You have people like that at the end of the day everywhere. It's crazy people that do crazy things, man.
Yeah, I mean,
But that definitely can bring into the next question. How much are we as citizens required to do? Because I mean, those people right then, I'm pretty sure they thought they was patriots and they thought they was doing a patriot act. They thought they was serving that nation by doing this crazy mess of running to the cap, storming the Capitol, doing crazy mess.
okay, all right, okay. So here goes. Oh man, he said, "What? How much are you required to do as a citizen? As a citizen, you are required to do because it's the land of the free, right?
Mm.
You're required to do what? You're required to do the bare minimum. You're required to do the bare minimum. The bare minimum is not break any of these laws. That's it. Like the house rules. Like you just follow the house rules. That's what you are required to do as a citizen. Um, it's real tough, man. When you decided when you said you want to talk about this topic, I gave it a little bit of thought, and now I'm going to say this. All right, so I think patriots are necessary.
Mm.
I think they're necessary. Um,
Expound
because
on that a little bit. Yeah, with
I'm gonna say why it's necessary. It's
you. Mm-hmm.
necessary in the sense that because the world is the way that it is right now,
Mm.
like then you have to have that. If something had intervened long before we are where we are in, patriotism wouldn't be as necessary. Being a good citizen would be necessary. But we're at a
Mm.
point right now where the world is so divisive. The world is so divisive. Um, I don't even know what does it even mean. I'm being I'm being extremely serious right now. What does it mean, particularly for a person of color, to be a patriot? I mean, it means complete and utter forgiveness. it means like because I don't know if everybody feels the same times that I feel, but sometimes whether it's right, wrong, indifferent, whether it's called for, sometimes when things don't go my way, in the back of my mind is this little voice that says, "Did it happen because I was black?" If I get pulled over and it becomes a little bit more than it becomes less than professional, my question in my mind is it's that little voice is always asking, is it because of my ethnicity?
Hmm.
Like
I think
usually
it's
it's
a lot
not.
of. I think that's a lot of question that any individual. I think if a Chinese person get pulled over, he'll say, "Ah, man, did he do this because I'm Chinese?" Or somebody always feel
Yeah,
like
I'm
or
not saying that
somebody
it's
that
right or
did them
wrong.
wrong. No, I think everybody in the back of their mind feels that way. I think they feel like they've been slighted or been discriminated upon. I think it's it's a lot of that stuff. I mean, you ask yourself, but I mean, me myself personally, I don't. Can a person do me wrong just because of, let's say somebody did me wrong just because I'm a Christian? I wear a lot of Christian shirts, and there's a lot of people out here that dislike Christian. They can do me wrong because of that. I can say, man, he don't like Christian. And actually, I know people don't like me because I'm Christian. I know that because
Yeah,
individuals that been around those people then told me they don't like the fact that I'm a Christian or a believer, a person of faith. But what does that? At the end of the day, I think that's going to happen in life. People are not going to like you, regardless why they don't like you, or it's just it. I think
yeah,
you still got to push forward.
yeah. What I'm saying to it is this, right?
Hmm.
I'm saying in order for you to be a true patriot, right? You have to one remove that thought process that possibly could be the case. I'm not saying that my thought process is right, wrong, or
Hmm.
indifferent, right? It's so many different things. Even if I let's just say I apply for a job, right? In my mind, I never know if I'm being paid fairly or what the next guy is getting paid.
Hmm.
Like it's always something. And then when you read statistics that confirm it, that like we make less, or the fact that we we make up 13% of the population, but like 70% of the prisons. When you start, in these numbers that support the things that we're talking about, right?
Hmm.
And you would have to bypass all of that, right? You have to get all of that out of your mind and
Hmm.
be like, yeah, man, America gang gang. like you have to do all of that. And so like to be like I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm
Hmm.
just saying that it takes a particular special person to be like,
Hmm.
yeah, man, I die for this.
I don't know. I think it's what no matter where you go, what country you go to, regardless, it's going to be something that you dislike about that nation. It's going to be
I'm not
some things
I
you
didn't
like.
say it was I didn't say it was
No, no,
one
I'm
thing
not.
I
I'm
I
not.
like
I'm, I'm
dislike.
not. I'm not implying nothing when I say this. So you ain't got to get defensive. I'm not applying nothing about what you say. I'm just saying I think that every country has problems, and regardless what there is, it's problems that they got to deal with. You know, and all problems in my nation. I mean, sure. I don't know. Of course, I have plenty of times had this conversation. I don't think it bothers me as much as it bothers the next person, but I mean, I go through life.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think about racism at all. It's not. I don't allow it to affect me. I know what goes on, but I'm not gonna allow that stuff to affect me.
here goes a question, right?
Hmm.
Like, say as a person, I know you won't give me an answer, but say as a person that they've been mistreating you for a long time, right?
Hmm.
And then not only that, they owe you a substantial amount of money,
Hmm.
right? And they refuse to pay you back. Won't even acknowledge it.
Hmm.
Like, is that the number one person you willing to die for? I ain't saying you got to be disrespectful to them or you even got to deal with them or any of that. But like, do you really like? We are you really lining up to die for
I
them? You get the
view it
point.
different. I
You
get
get
the
the
point.
point.
But I
You
don't
get the
accept.
point.
I get the point. I don't accept the premise.
Yeah,
I get what you getting by that. Let's take this point right here. Like Tiff, I'm using you as an example. Tiff said it's sad to see black people drowning blacks. It's sad to me to see anybody drowning anybody. So I totally remove the race from anything. If I see
I
a
understand
person
that.
drowning a person, it's wrong to me, regardless what their color is. I'm not more concerned about it just because that person is a black person. I do not care about race. I cannot do that. And maybe it's my faith. I have to care about the individual regardless of color. I
Yeah.
can't do that. I can't pick a like what I did for you today, right? Let's say going over there. Would I do that different if you were white?
No, that's not
I
what I'm saying.
wouldn't.
See, like that's not
I
what I'm saying.
don't.
Because
I
I
don't look
listen.
at it like that.
That's
I
not what
don't
I'm
look at
saying.
it like
That because like again, I'm talking about just straight from patriotism, right? I'm
that. All
not
right.
talking about race or any of that, man.
Well, let's
Like
ask the question
I don't
again
have an issue. I don't
without
have
racism.
any issues. Like I
Mm,
don't have any issues because when I tell you, like when I tell you, uh, one of the guys in here, and again, I hate to use that. Oh, I got friends or this and the third. But I tell you, like one of my closest friends that we talk about any and everything, 20-year friends. Like it's not a me. I don't have an issue with any person like that. I'm talking about the systemic issues of the
mm,
country. Like
mm,
and see when you start making it into individual or black and white thing, that's not what
mm,
I'm talking about. I'm talking about America as a whole, not in
mm,
not the individual citizens, because the citizens aren't making the rules.
mm,
Like we're just obeying the rules.
mm,
So yeah, my issue has nothing to do with a single race of person or any of that. What I'm saying is the system in whole. Now, again, like if you really want to really hear my opinion on this, all right. So again, the the policies and things that are in place that again I could have did better in school. Maybe I could have had an opportunity to go to school, take out student loans, or do whatever it is. But I'm going to say that when I was 17, because I signed up when I was 17, I didn't see a lot of options for me.
mm,
I didn't see a way of paying for college. I didn't even know what college was. Like I didn't know what my options were. I didn't know any of that. I didn't know any of that. And so the crazy part is I tell people all the time when I signed up for the Marine Corps, I didn't even know what the Marine Corps was. I thought the military was just the military. Like
mm,
I had no idea what it was. I didn't know it was going to be that hard. None of that. But I'm gonna tell you the things that are in place that will make a young person decide to pick up guns and train that hard and jump out of planes and do all of that type of stuff in foreign countries over issues that have nothing to do with you personally.
mm.
You have to have the right you have to have the right environment. You have to have the right environment in order for a person to do that. And usually that environment involves one, poverty or lack of access.
Mhm,
Two, they have to be young enough and lack the life experiences in order to do it. And three, most importantly, they have to believe. They have to believe that this is the value, the max value that they can get for their life at that given point.
mhm.
And that right there, and it's sad that that's what it takes. But just like you talked about, it's like if everybody was rich, there would be nobody to make your McDonald's, right? If
Mhm.
nobody was poor, you have nobody to fight your wars. And so again, this whole system is really based on the fact that we got to keep people poor.
You talking about a world system? Because I mean that goes
I
on
don't.
in the world.
All I
You
know is
saying because I think everybody deals with it.
I know from where I live at here. I don't know about in the
I'm
world. I
not.
know
I'm not
from
saying.
here.
I think that's a world issue. I think everybody like poverty is not solely like you said. Poor people fight war. Poor people fight wars every single place that you go to. It's not a single nation. You telling me rich people fight wars in Canada or in Europe and that? No, that's a world problem. It's not exclusive to us. That's the way it is. And then you don't think I know you're not against like people serving because you said you think it should be mandatory. You
I
think
do.
everybody
I'm
should
not.
mandatory serve, right?
Yeah, and this is why I say that everyone should serve
So you
because
okay
I
with people
think that
being forced to kill? Those people being forced? Because
man,
if I'm
listen,
mandatory, I'm mandatory must say they're gonna put. Let's say we go to war, they're gonna put me on the front line, and if I don't want to kill, I got to be killed, right? That's mandatory.
this is the reason why I said that. Got to use context.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be because it gives you a different perspective
Mm-hmm.
on what it is to be a citizen. I think very much. It's almost like you and I we watch sports, the sports
Mm-hmm.
podcast, right?
Yeah.
Now we have so many opinions, and sometimes we even talk bad about people. I listen
Mm-hmm.
to the LeBron James hating this thing
Mm-hmm.
when we have never played at a professional level.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea what it's like to do it, but we sit here and we chastise. We talk about how bad the guy is, about how he this, how he that. But if we all played in the NBA, we would have different perspectives when we talk about it.
I agree.
Now, as citizens, though, it is so many of us. It is so many of us that have such harsh opinions about, and they ain't never picked up a weapon for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you ain't got active. So like for me, I do understand. I understand not wanting to, because I'm gonna tell you, believe this or not, Corey, I never wanted to shoot my gun for this country.
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted to. That wasn't what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, I would imagine there's a select few, a very select few people,
Mm-hmm.
and they usually join the Marine Corps. That actually join because they want war.
I think you're dancing around the question. The question that I'm proposing to you, you're okay with mandatory enlisting in the military. So are you okay with a person being forced to kill a person? Because essentially that's what's going to happen. If you put me in the military, you're telling me you either choose to kill or be killed.
Hmm. Man, Corey, what is the alternative? Like, do you? So you think that everybody that squeezes guns wanted to be over there doing that?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm not for mandatory enlistment. I think at the end of the day, if
You're
you
not for a draft either.
no, no, no. I mean, I think it probably. I think at the end of the day, you get who you can get because at the
Get who
end of
you
the
can
day,
get.
you get the most people you can get to enlist, and if they don't want to go, you can find something to do with them. But to force somebody to mandatorily choose a fight that they don't agree with, because at the end of the day, if I'm gonna go over there, how you figure I'm gonna kill those people? So you
I'm
just
gonna. T-
basically sending me to my death. You be murdering
well,
me.
listen. The fact of the matter is,
Hmm.
people who don't, e- e- people who don't want to be there, they don't give you the
Hmm.
best results as people who volunteer to be
Hmm.
tribute.
Yeah.
I do
So,
agree to that.
so yeah, let them
Now,
volunteer.
but but like right now, and like I said, I don't know what numbers are or anything like that. But when I go to different stores, I'm telling you, like there. Te- how many times have you seen a hiring sign lately?
Oh,
Hiring. We are now hiring.
oh, we are not hiring. I don't know. I think most of that stuff is online now. I don't think you can do nothing that's not online. Like Indeed,
I'm
you
saying
have to put your application
everywhere
online.
I go, there's a sign on a door that says we are now hiring.
They've
I
been
don't know
hiring.
what, but listen, I don't listen. Like a lot of times we hear unemployment is at its all time low or this that and the third. But I'm gonna tell you, I ain't never seen so many we are hiring signs ever in my life. Period. Now they telling me that the unemployment is low as ever. Okay, maybe they make the process hard to apply to it or something. I don't know what the answer to it is, but the proof I'm looking at least in my era, everybody's hiring. Stores are closing, right? Now, if the same type of attrition happens in the military, and let's just say, I don't know, North Korea decides to shoot bombs at Japan, or whatever it happens in the world, right? Whatever
You
happens in
have
the
to
world.
choose something. Let's say Russia. And I don't even think I don't know. I'm of the belief, and I had this argument with a guy, and we really looked at what America possesses. But you probably we'll have to get into the aspect. Of what do you believe, the information and stuff like that. But I don't think North Korea got enough to feed their people to even sustain themselves in a war. Russia likewise. I don't think they have enough to like. The first thing about war, you got to be able to feed your soldiers. If you're gonna put people over there, you got to be able to create an avenue for supply. And you know this as well as I do. If you get there, you put people there without anything to support them, they ain't gonna die anyway. So can North Korea is just, I don't know. It, what kind of war that could be a war that would actually strike America down? Because America's pretty powerful with military assets. It'll take probably a group, probably China and Russia would be a formidable foe. It'd be tough. I
Hey,
still think they
I'm not.
lose.
Listen, yeah, it's not about who I think will win or anything like that. The fact
Yeah.
of the matter is, you know what happens when war happens. I'm gonna tell you. Anytime even the threat of war, I'm gonna tell you this is the first thing that
Mm,
happens. All the important people they find bunkers. Even when you talk about something, right?
mm,
Even if we hit the button first, they go into bunkers. So I'm not even talking about the fact of who would win or this and that. War is ugly, it's dangerous, and
mm.
people who have the ability to save their own lives, they do that. They don't go to the armory. The president doesn't go to the armory and say, "Give me a gun." That's not what he's doing. Joe is looking for the nearest bunker to go to. The same thing with Donald. The same thing with Barack. They're not saying, "Hey, give me a rifle." I want. That's not what happens. So I'm not sitting here saying who would win a war. This and the third. The fact of the matter is, war is ugly. Period.
Hmm.
And most of the casualties will be people who don't wear uniforms. That is a
Yeah,
fact.
yeah.
That is a fact. They don't want to tell you that,
So
but
let me ask you: if a war was about to break out in America, would you go meet it head on before it got here?
would I go meet it? No.
Like, would allowed to get here and try to fight your family that way?
Yeah,
Because
no.
at the end of the day, if you know that wars are fought, where it's fought at, like let's say the war that happened in World War II, it was fought mainly majority Russia and Europe. All of those people that were civilian got horrible things done to them. Horrible things. Would you let that war be fought on America? I try to meet it before it get here.
Yeah, man.
So I'm protecting my family.
And I'm gonna tell you straight up, man. You know what you need it most at with your family.
Mm, yeah,
And like Kevin said, like I'm gonna tell you, man. People who say that Russia's not a formidable foe,
I didn't say
I
that.
don't like
I
you
said
know.
Russia. It would take number one. What Russia has the most of is nuclear weapons. That's but at the end of the day, that's not a fight that's worth having. Neither one of us want that.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
question is, can they launch enough of an attack that can pose a threat to us?
man.
At the end of the day, they don't have enough ships.
Man, listen, I have no idea. I have
They don't
no
have enough
idea.
ships.
I don't even know if you could. I don't know if you weaponize the satellites. I have no idea. But I'm gonna tell you like this: it ain't good for nobody. That's thing one.
Mm,
Thing two. Thing two. Like again, whether you gonna win, lose, or draw, no matter what, you don't want that type of stuff in your country. You don't want your family. You don't
mm,
want your family in it. But I would say this: if something was like that happen, I would tell you defend your family, man. Don't leave them here. Don't leave them here and then you go across the world. Like that would make no sense. Like protect what's yours, love yours. Yeah, to love yours. Like. As a matter of fact, if you want to, come over to my crib, man. We hang out.
Yeah, I look at it like a boat, right? And we all in this boat, right? And sometimes you might have people poking holes in your boat. But at the end of the day, I can't poke holes in this boat because I'm in here. At the end of the day, I'm in this country. What happens to this country? At the end of the day, like we people claim they don't like what America does, and this is my nation. I live here. If like 9/11, when they attacked, right, and the planes hit the building, they didn't care whether you black, white, Indian. They don't care what color you is. You were here.
Yep.
People had a lot of family and friends that died there. If they attacked Newport News shipyard tomorrow, I would die.
Hmm.
You know, I'm in this nation. They might not be attacking Corey Holman. They're attacking the United States, but I'm in this boat. If they putting holes in my boat, I sink with it. So at the end of the day, I'm associated with them. So you could say, like, let's go back to the game thing. Like you might not want to be on that street or considered from that game, but when you walk out and they know you from there, they're gonna consider you from that game. Just like if you wear blue, like like back in the day, at the end of the day, if you're a Crip and you wore blue, you might not be part of the Crips, but you got blue on. They're gonna shoot you all the same.
Okay. Here goes the next thing I'm gonna say to you, Corey.
All right.
This, this ain't. This, you can take it for what it's worth, but you know what? You want to know a large portion of what the damage is. It won't be when soldiers are in our communities. It'll be when there's total anarchy and the people next door to you start fearing for resources.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different aspects that you're not thinking about,
No,
and
I'm
these
thinking
people,
about that all the time.
the
Why would I
people,
be thinking about that?
I'm telling you, let the power go off for 2 days, and you'll see how
I'm the one
patriotic.
that told you that.
Yeah, you'll see how patriotic these people are.
You got that from me. I said
I'm just, I'm just saying.
the best attack would be an MP attack. If you shut down power
Well,
for a long period of time, you kill
nonetheless,
each other.
if Walmart closes, a food line closes, like folks gonna be a look. You need to be protecting your family. You need to be stay at home, man. Let the professionals do what the professionals do, man.
Mm.
There's a bunch of young poor people that have just signed up today that will defend your country.
Yeah.
Because that's the way it was designed. It was designed for young poor people to
Let
take our
them do
place.
it. Let
That's
them
right,
do
man. Like
it. Shit,
I'm
man.
thankful for the young poor person that came behind me that had to
Typically,
make
I
that
wouldn't
point.
be in the draft though. I wouldn't be eligible by the rule standard. My father's on the son, so
Oh,
my
okay.
father's on the child, so I wouldn't be eligible until things get worse, and then they send me to.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I understand that, man. But we
Man,
end
let's
up.
read some of these comments, man.
Yeah,
These
let's read these
comments are
comments. Man,
great, man.
listen,
Y'all would dive in.
these comments are almost toxic, man.
Yeah,
I
God,
don't even,
Lika,
I,
y'all.
they,
I don't even want
they,
to read. Y'all should. I was about to say play nice for a second.
man, these comments is toxic, man. Like it's
Golly.
so divisive.
Oh man. I did want to respond to something that. Okay.
Man, listen, Corey,
Uh huh.
I'm gonna tell you, man. A lot of the things that I hear
We
is
didn't get to
like,
one of our points though. I was saying my
what was the
thing
point?
was vote. I think how much citizens are required to do is voting. I'm very stringent on everybody vote. At the end of the day, let your voice be heard, even if I don't agree with you. At the end of the day, I think most people should come together and vote. I think that's us as citizens. It might sound like a light thing, but I think your voice should be heard. Regardless, I think most people I come in contact with are liberals. I disagree with liberals, but I still think they have the right to vote and should vote. At the end of the day, this nation should be built upon, regardless what a person, what direction most people think we should go.
Can I ask?
Depending.
Can I ask a stupid question here?
Yeah.
I was gonna save this for a topic, and I'm asking because I legitimately don't know.
Mhm.
Why don't we only have two major parties?
Why do we have two major parties? Because you split it up like, let's say you go to three major parties, you go to four major parties, you go to five major parties. Eventually, get down to a person, everybody that want to run got a party. It's just at the end of the day, parties are built. What are parties? You know what parties are? It's support
Explain it.
systems to help a person run. It supports us. Hey, you can start your own party and run on that. It's no law against that. A person has that. You can run independent. You could just be yourself, him. But a party is a group of people saying that we're going to back you to run. So anybody, if you can get the backing from another person, you can get them to fund you to run.
Don't you see the problem with all of it?
What do you mean? I think at the end of the day, would a three-party system solve the problem? No. Four-party system? No. You can vote. Do I agree with the people that's going up? Do I like choosing between two evils? No. I think you should get better choices. At the end of the day, I think we should put forth better choices. But I think ultimately, I do not blame. I don't blame the government. I blame people. I think most people do not know anything about what they vote for. Like I had this argument with a guy, and then I'm gonna let it end on this point, right? It's a guy, right? This old head I used to go to work with, man. He used to complain about these tolls, man. He hated these tolls. He hated these tolls like crazy. I said, well, who you vote for? And he told me who they vote for, and I looked it up. And I said, okay, the person you voted for, right, said that they were gonna do this. That's what they said. They end up doing something that you hated, but you didn't know they were gonna do it. It ain't like they lying. Everybody that's running on offense, most of them, if they lie, you can call them on the line and see what they do. Like whatever they ran on, you can look and see that they do that thing. But most people don't care. They voting on some other reason. But if you don't know what the person is doing that you voted for and they do something, how you know what they doing? You check behind the person you voted for? Everybody voted right now. Did you check behind the person you voted for? Do you know what they're doing? Do you know the policies they putting in place? We all voted for city officials. Do you know what those city officials are doing right now? Are you holding them accountable? What are you doing? Or are you just gonna vote for them on the next cycle? So at the end of the day, I think the politicians are doing what they said they were gonna do. We just didn't know what they were gonna do. I think most politicians, even though I think politicians lie, but I think politicians lie to get into office. They do something when they get into office. But if you ain't gonna hold them accountable, why wouldn't they lie? Lie. So what? Who cares? You gonna
Yeah,
not do it.
listen, I'm gonna tell you, man. Like, so, hmm, this is what I'm gonna say. I think that I believe, like what Kevin said, on a local level, like it is extremely important that you get out and vote.
Yeah. Tiff got a great point. The local elections are more important than presidential by far. By far. They way more effective.
Yeah, but see, but here goes the thing though. Like
Mm,
when when you are 13% of the population, right?
mm,
And let's just say 70%, say 10% actually
mm,
get out and vote,
mm.
right? And that's on the high end. You agree that's on the high end
Yeah.
because I mean you got to take in the fact that there's children. You got to take in the fact that we go to prison all the time. You got to take in the fact that we
Mm,
either in prison or we just got out of prison, so you can't vote. You know what I mean? But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, 10% of the population, right? You'd be a fool to run a campaign based off of interests that would help that 10% if it alienates if it
no.
alienates 40%.
No, because I think at the end of the day, LGBT makes up a percentage, right? And a percentage, and people galvanize towards them. And it's smaller percentage, Latino vote. People galvanize towards Latinos. I think you're disregarding the ability of a swing vote. What it's called is a swing vote. A side is does not have affiliation to one group. They're able to say, okay, I would choose this person, this person. They will galvanize to get your group to choose one way. Another thing, we don't vote one way. We you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, we well, we do vote one way. That's what I'm saying. We only 97% of black people vote Democrat. They have been doing this since the 60s, I believe. We always been voted that way. So at the end of the day, right now they tallying our vote to go one way. They the lines have been drawn. They only care about the people that switch. So what decided this election, this past presidential election, was suburban white women. Suburban white women voted astronomically towards Donald Trump, and they astronomically voted towards Biden in this election. Donald Trump did not get those same votes, and a lot of people attribute that to be because of abortion laws or something like that. There's a lot of things that can swing that vote. But suburban white women won the election for Joe Biden. So you can say a lot of elections have been won, a lot of different reasons, but at the end of the day, it's about people that swing, that's going to go to the election vote and change that vote, or say it's one way, or change it from that way. That's the reason why they only campaign in certain states. They don't come to our state because if they know 100% of the doubt that we're going to vote one way, they're not going to campaign there. They're only going to campaign in places that swing. You'll never see a Republican go to California to campaign. They know where their vote going to. They know that vote gonna be blue. And you'll never see a Republican right now go towards Florida. He know it was campaigning in Florida because it was a purple state to DeSantis got a hold of it. It's bright red right now. Nobody's going to campaign in Florida. Campaigning that happened probably in North Carolina. That's a swing state, wherever the swing state is, that can be up for grabs. But that's the way it works.
Vote in your local election. If
Yeah,
you gotta go to work for the national election, go to work. That's how I feel. Don't
yeah.
call out for it. Don't call out for it. Wasting your time.
What do
But
you mean?
like I said, I just think that I think the national election. I think that I think, and again, you said that the suburban women won. I'm gonna tell you honestly, I don't
Suburban white
think.
women.
I'm gonna tell you this is what I honestly think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that nobody felt good about voting for Joe,
Mm-hmm.
but when the alternative was the Klan likes this guy, so I think most sensible people were like, let's not vote for the guy that the Klan is
Did you
going
feel
to
the exact
support.
same way when people did vote for Trump?
I'm just saying. I mean, like at the end of the day, like I think that's really what it was. There was Trump a good president? Was he a bad president? I mean, I know right now it seems like things are going really really bad right now, but at the end of the day, I don't see David Duke saying "Go Joe." So it's like
But the question,
I mean,
how did
like
that that had to affect you emotionally because it definitely didn't affect you financially in any other kind of way. Seeing him say "Go Joe" right now, your life would not change one bit.
I understand.
And when he said it to Trump, it didn't affect you one bit neither.
No, I'm just
It
saying
didn't
like
matter.
it's just it comes to principles. Like
Mm,
if put it like this, right? The lemonade stand that I had right now.
mm,
If let's say if David Duke said, you know what, I support the Hampton Lemonade stand,
mm.
I would say I do not support David Duke nor his support of our lemonade stand because I truly feel that it is wrong. I truly believe that what he stands for is wrong. So I would say that the fact that Trump wasn't willing to do that told me everything that I needed
How
to
you
know.
know he didn't do it?
I'm just saying. I'm
How
just
you
saying.
know he didn't do it?
I don't know.
What if I show you a video that he did it? Would
Well,
you take back all the stuff?
too late. Yeah,
All
he
right,
did
let's
free
close
Kodak.
out so I can show him.
No, he did free Kodak Black and
We
Wayne
free code out back.
and Lil Wayne. You remember that? And Lil Wayne.
And he got ASAP Rocky back.
I don't care about ASAP. He could have kept ASAP. He could have kept ASAP, but we got Wayne back. That's what I care about. Yeah, we kept Wayne. He keep ASAP. Whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Democrats did start the Klan, but you can't tell people that they don't believe that.
Oh,
The Klan was ran by Democrats was ran by clans. Yeah,
yeah.
like Ku
It's
Klux
all
Klan.
it's all bad.
Planned Parenthood was started by a lady that said she was going to build it to keep black people from spreading. You can look that up too. The history of Planned Parenthood. Who started it? She was associated with a Klan.
They just sound like, and you know what? And it goes back to our
It's
original
the
point.
truth thing.
It goes back to our original point. It's hard to be a patriot, knowing that all
Mm-hmm.
these people just dislike us for no reason. But
Mm-hmm.
anywho, man, close out, man. What's your closing argument? What
Hey
you got
man,
for
I
us?
love y'all, man. I hope this show hey man, I hope this show excited y'all. I hope y'all got some food for thought, man, to sit down and calm down a little bit, man. Y'all, hey, we're all friends, we all family. We all love each other, man. At the end of the day, man, I think believe it or not, I did. I feel like we came together a little bit more. I do see it sad a little bit, but I won't say exactly what it is. Maybe I'll do it in another show. But I did read some comments, and I kind of see y'all point from side a little bit. All right.
Oh my goodness, these comments are terrible.
Yeah,
Listen, these comments were too toxic for me to go through today. If
yeah.
Court
We
wasn't
ain't read the
already,
comment. I ain't read
yeah,
the comment.
they were so bad. Hey, but I love y'all so much.
I love
Listen,
y'all.
I love y'all so much, man. And more importantly, uh,
Love you.
love yours. We out.